Best day of my life! Oh my god! I'm at a loss for words, guys. I'm the happiest person to be the most wrong person in the history of mankind, man. Y'all can make fun of me and tell me I was wrong for the rest of my life, please. Please tell me. I don't know what to say. This is just not happening. It's just not happening, but my prayers are... God is real, guys. He's real. He listened to this boy. I'm praying to God, man. Praying to God every day for this man, Kawhi. He's the greatest, man. He didn't want to sell. Fuck you, LeBron. Daddy's home, bitch. Daddy's fucking home. Daddy's home. Kawhi. And PG. Let's get this money, baby. LA Clippers getting a ship. Fuck out of here. We're getting one. Maybe the Lakers will win this year, but who can we win the next year? Kawhi Leonard, man. You're the greatest human being on earth. Oh my God. Oh my God. Man, Steve Ballmer, Jerry the fucking Logo West.
Several months later.
And let's go to Kawhi Leonard, or should I say Quit Leonard, because he quit on the entire franchise. You know, I thought July 5th was the second best day of my life because we got this Kawhi Leonard. And all season long, he was great, except for the fact that he load managed, and I said, you know what, I don't like it, but it's okay, because in the playoffs, he's going to be the best player in the NBA. What the hell was that? There's one thing to not play well, but there's another thing to act like you do not give a single fuck about this team, about the franchise, and more importantly, the fans, who none of you acknowledged throughout the entire run. You think just because we're not there, we're not watching on TV? You think you're bigger than the organization? I've been here for 15 years. How long have you? How long have you quit, Leonard? Because you fucking quit. Chris Paul never did that. He never just laid over like that. You know, where's I'm going to chuck us out of the game. I'm going to put this game in my hands. I saw what you did in Toronto against Philly in Game 7. You shot 39 times. You had this mentality like, I'm going to go down swinging. Where was that? You ready to go home? And then avoid all your problems so you don't have social media? And all he has to say after the game, at least he doesn't make excuses, but all he has to say is, we're going to leave it out on the floor. What was that, leaving it out on the floor? You left it in the hotel room. Kawhi Leonard, Quit Leonard. I'm going to call you Quit Leonard. And sorry, Clipper fans, no. If you get mad at me for being negative, there's no more of that. Because you've either not been a fan as long as me, and God bless you if you have been a fan longer than me to have this much patience. Because I do not, and I will never be positive for this team again. I will never be optimistic for them again, and I'm never going to say they're going to win anything. Because they're never going to make it out of the second round unless at least Glenn Rivers goes. And Kawhi Leonard, you know, the first season we had Lob City, it was a positive season. We made it to the playoffs, and we made it to the second round. We hadn't gotten there in years. This was a failure. So I have no reason to like Kawhi. I don't care that he came. And I gotta stop calling him Kawhi. It's Quit Leonard now. And I have his jersey, that shit's hanging in the closet until you get us out of the second round. Until then, I do not fuck with you.
Several months later.
Well, here we are, Game 7. I told you guys in my rant last year after we lost and choked that Kawhi Leonard jersey I had is going to stay in the closet until we make it out of the second round after his debacle in Game 7, and he just didn't look like he could be bothered at all. Along with the rest of the team, not just him. But he's the leader. He was the guy I put all my faith into. He didn't come through. Well, I think after last game, after he gave everything he had with everything on the line, in the biggest game of his career, I think it's only fitting we whip out the jersey for this big one. So without further ado, Kawhi, I'm giving you my support today. Full on, a current player. Let's do it, buddy. Let's do it.
If Kawhi was playing and we lost, fair. And here's the thing. Here's how I feel about Kawhi. He won me over because of that Dallas performance. But man, I really like Paul George more.
Much later.
But Paul George, he's not serious, in my opinion. You know, for him to come out 2 years ago and say, I'm not getting enough touches on the ball, and then this year he said, I'm on the ball too much, I want Westbrook, he ducks responsibility. No guy that says, like, oh, I'm a two-way player, all this, has as many games defensively where he lapses in concentration, falls asleep,
is going through the motions, games where he settles for jumper after jumper, not attacking the basket, games that he catches the ball at the mid post and he literally puts on a clinic and he wants to dance at the top of the key over and over and overcomplicate his game. Then there's other games where we don't have Kawhi and he won't even shoot 20 shots. I love Paul George, but I have serious doubts about him winning a championship, even if healthy. Now, I love him so much that I'd be down to roll with him again, but if it were up to me, I think we got to trade him because he's too injury prone. And even when he's healthy, I don't know about him. But when Kawhi Leonard, because of his degenerative knee, there's so much more mystery. We don't know how serious his injuries are. They hide it from us until we finally hear the bad news like we heard now with the torn meniscus. Prayers up to him. But I'm going to say this too to end. My friend Fabian always says it. But when you talk about building a team, do you want to root for certain guys? Do you like rooting for them? And after 4 years, my answer is no. I think Kawhi Leonard is amazing on the court. He's the best player the Clippers have ever had. But 4 years in, I still go to games and still have trouble embracing this guy as a Clipper. Why? Simple reason. He doesn't play all the time. I haven't seen him play enough to feel that feeling. We've never seen him play in front of a sold-out Clipper playoff crowd. There's no fun in rooting for this team. It's absolute garbage. They have no future. They're old and slow. The coach and the front office are going back and forths, and the fans have to go at each other because who's being optimistic, who's pessimistic. The only people that get screwed every year are the fans, and you have a right to feel the way that you do. I do not like this. I don't want to do this anymore. Nobody's going to take Kawhi Leonard, but I want both of them gone. And that's the honest truth. I think that for everything that they've done, I've held this reservation for a while, but I don't want anything to do with them.
6 months later.
I cannot even describe to you guys. I mean, my subscribers know how much I cannot stand the way this dude plays basketball. Yeah, he's a great player. He is a great player. He's not cut out to win chips. I can't stand watching him handle the ball, tween cross, step back, fall on the floor, foul bait nonsense, and then quit in playoff games. Let's go over the times he quit. So I actually used to love James Harden when he was in Oklahoma City. But then Mike D'Antoni got him, and then I realized maybe I hate – and when we got James Harden and I started reflecting on the whole thing, I started realizing that my beef with Mike D'Antoni is even bigger than Harden. I think that heliocentric, put the ball in one guy's hands and make them run pick and roll and make them a statistical god is such awful basketball if you want to win a championship. What it does is it empowers one guy to dribble and do everything in terms of shot creation for your team. It's a very efficient way to get shots when he's surrounded by the right personnel, but it stagnates ball movement, hinders overall rhythm and development, in my opinion, and is easy to guard when the defense knows where the shot is coming from, where the creation is coming from, and can put 10 eyes behind the ball. But my whole thing was this. Don't make a trade for a third star to save these guys. Let them play and see if the vision that we built this team, which was Kawhi and Paul and role players, is good enough to win. Don't give them an exit door. Don't give them an excuse. Let them play. And you know what? Those first 3 games, I know we lost to Utah, but those first 3 games, I was having so much fun because my focus then went from, okay, I wanted this era gone, but now I'll give anything to keep this era. Just please don't put James Harden on my basketball team. Please don't put James Harden on my basketball team. Because here's what I thought would happen. He's going to make us better, right? I don't know what's going to happen to Russ. I thought that was going to be a horrible pairing. That was my biggest fear. We're going to get James Harden. He's going to make Paul George even less aggressive. And we're going to do better in the regular season, only to flame out harder in the playoffs with a 3-star team. And then we gave up something for Harden, and we have nowhere to go. Oh, I wasn't that far off. We get James Harden, and when I saw that Woj bomb, my heart literally sank. I never believed we could win the championship with this guy. I have to put on belief in the shows that I do, but I don't think James Harden is going to win anything, and I'm going to stand by that strong. There's nothing you can say that changes my mind. There's no stat, nothing you can say that changes my mind. I have nothing against the guy personally. I actually think he was arguably our best performer in the first round. He actually gave us 2 fantastic games without Kawhi and was asked to do more than he needed to do. That being said, I'm not here to, watch James Harden try over and over to get his ring that he's never gotten. I'm not here for that shit. Try someone else.
Like, what am I supposed to do now? Like that was the moment I realized that none of this shit is worth it. It's never worth it to care so much. Because no matter what, you just don't have an effect on this shit. You can believe that Harden's never going to win anything and that this 2-on-3 era needs to fail outright for the front office to see that maybe they're not what they're cut out to be. But they went and got James Harden and took one last swing, giving up another first-round pick. There's nothing more Clippers than the guy finally staying healthy, playing 68 games, and then he's not there when it matters most. It's like a sick fucking joke. It's a sick fucking joke. And the worst part about Kawhi is, and what Stephen A. said is true, he is not the best guy to be the ambassador of your franchise. He does no fan interaction. He does not show off his personality. He's not interacting with fans on social media. He doesn't say anything. His injuries we don't even know about till the last minute. And he gets no one knows anything about him. We act like he's a fucking stand-up comedian when he says anything with personality. Oh, he's so funny, guys. I'm so tired of him. I am so tired of having him on my team. I've been tired of having him on my team. I love watching him play basketball, but at the end of the day, he's getting his money, and we're just sitting here watching season after season go by, and him sitting on the bench in street clothes as we wallow away. It's just embarrassing at this point. And I'm not here to just wait another year for the if Kawhi's healthy game. I'm just not. And now what? We're stuck. We have nowhere to go. And let's talk about the other reason we're stuck. This excuse-making guy that I now love, but he is excuse-making and is never going to win a championship. So it's not just James Harden anymore. This guy, Paul George, he is an expert at dodging responsibility.
Well. The yearly occurrence, the fan favorite video. I think you're going to hear a slightly different tone this year given everything that happened. Actually, I know you will. But we're still going to get into some uncomfortable realities about the state of this team and how I'm truly feeling after every year. Hope you enjoyed a little background of the last couple of years. I guess that would be the summary of the Kawhi era. But I'm going to be talking about everything now. You know, when the season started, I went into it with I'm not going to pretend that I enjoy the product on the court. James Harden is my least favorite player to ever watch play basketball. That does not mean that he is the worst player to ever play basketball. That does not mean that I hate him. That means I don't enjoy watching him play even when he's doing well. And you might ask, what if it's on your team? I mean, it's good for the team, but I'm not really bought in. This is what I was thinking going into the year. I'm not really bought into the Kawhi era. I want it to end, and it's very hard to get behind a product where you're not a huge fan of the two best players on the team. But you know what I am a fan of? Is making content, is talking about the games, and is interacting with the fans. So when I took an amazing trip in September to Birmingham, England, and London, and I had those amazing vlogs that I'll link there, I saw the sense of community that those fans had and how little they truly cared about what so-and-so thinks of this player, what so-and-so thinks of their expectation of the team. And I realized, like, local fandom is not about people's opinions on temporary players. It's about community. And going into the season, that's the one thing I wanted to try to do, is try to build some community. Because I do not, it's like to cope, honestly, the fact that I don't like what's going on. But I did like the defensive moves we made on the margins. Derrick Jones Jr., bringing Nico back, Chris Dunn. Going into the season, and I talked about this in the last vlog, I was saying that I'm not going to get season tickets this year. I just can't support another year of the let's wait to see if Kawhi is healthy experience. And I was like, you know what? I can get a media credential and not pay. Why don't I just tap in with Locked On, get credentialed like all my other Locked On hosts are? And it took some time. You know, obviously part of it was me lagging on it, but a couple games went by and I didn't have the credential yet. And I was going to the games and found a way to get into the swell, which is that heart of the wall that Steve Ballmer introduced, which is essentially the standing only section, the continuation of Section 207. For those curious, we debuted kind of like the baby wall, which was Section 207 in the 2023-24 season, and I was in it. I was one of the test monkeys, so to speak, and I vlogged the entire experience. That was my I went to 29 out of 41 games in that season. Fast forward to this year, I'm at Intuit Dome for that first game against the Suns. And that whole night was just one of the most surreal nights I'd ever had as a fan. Before I even entered the arena, I was, recognizing people, people that I'd met through last year and the last couple of years. But the concentration of just Clipper fans. At Clipper games, you always get, at Staples Center, you always got Laker fans in disguise or not in disguise, or, groups of kids, whether it be a basketball team or a Boys and Girls Club, just coming to the game, or just families that can afford to come to a basketball game. Or, of course, fans of the opposing team. Intuit Dome, this entire season, but from day one, felt like a higher concentration of Clipper fans, getting rid of a lot of those infiltrators or those fans that are not there for the Clippers, just there for a game, because it was slightly more inconvenient than being in the heart of downtown, being right by downtown LA, the parking and everything, Inglewood. There's not much stuff around Inglewood except for SoFi and the Forum. So it's just a neighborhood. And it's different than downtown LA, where you could be at Lucky Strike bowling alley or an LA Live and just decide to go to a LA Kings game or a Clipper game last minute. You know what I'm saying? So it took a while to start selling out, and also, Kawhi Leonard being healthy helps with that. But it felt like a higher concentration of Clipper fans. And with that, I was getting recognized like never before. And I never like talking about that kind of stuff because I feel like I sound arrogant or big-headed. But I legitimately, that first game, I could not walk too far without getting someone saying, "I appreciate your work. I love the videos." And it was the most surreal feeling ever. Like, I just couldn't believe it. And the noise level that the Intuit Dome created that first night, the swell, how close we were to the action. It was everything Ballmer said and more. And for me, I'm a guy who fell in love with going to basketball games because my family used to take me with my sister, my parents, Section 301, back against the wall at Staples Center, watching 10 games a season of us getting, whooped usually by better teams and the star players around the league. And I would still yell defense from the top row, hoping that the next person below me would yell defense, and it would, go all over the stadium until the whole crowd was chanting defense. That was, what I lived for. And I lived for playoff games. And at one point, I stopped going to regular season games at Staples Center during the Lob City era during high school. And I was like, let me just save my money for all the playoff games with my dad, because regular season games are just too lax. And then after I graduated college, I was like, damn, I can drive myself now and the tickets are cheap. And I don't have homework anymore like I did when I was a kid. So why not just go to like every game I can? Support the boys. Because if I'm not there, no one's going to be louder than me. So for us to have this section that's dedicated to a bunch of diehards yelling the whole game in a stadium that's built for noise after all those last couple of years at Staples Center, where it felt like we just could not replicate the noise of Lob City, I mean, it literally made me think, okay, I don't even... And when the conversation about the media credential came up, my man Nick from Locked On said, the thing is, do you want one? Do you like the avenue that you are as a diehard fan and brutal honesty about the team? And then, I talked to one of the beat writers, not going to say who, but they told me that we need your voice doing what you do. Like, there's enough of us, but there's not enough of you. And that's when I was like, you know what? I'm down to work for some other team, covering some other sports team with the Clippers. I'm just going to embrace this fan angle. I'm going to pay for tickets. I'm going to be one of the guys making noise, and I'm going to be a part of this inaugural experience at the wall and see how it goes. And just, fuck what I think about the product on the court. I'm just going to root for us off the court and making it cool. And I have to say, the defensive identity of the team, the introduction of Jeff Van Gundy, the Derrick Jones Jr.'s, the Chris Dunns, Nico, it made the team fun to watch play defense. And then we saw, I didn't enjoy it, obviously, the James Harden ball. Like, I just don't. I don't. He still dribbles too much for me. He still does the foul. I can't even believe the fouls that he gets. It's like every single time he takes a contested three, he got fouled. Like, he's never taken a contested three without getting fouled. But he was playing great. And I think James Harden, I've said this year, was the MVP of our team. I think he should be all NBA. My, liking of how he plays basketball or disliking of how he plays basketball does not affect my honest opinion of what he was doing out there. And then, of course, we got to see Ivica Zubac, who, when we traded Terrence Mann, which was very sad, but I guess it was time. I don't think he fit very well with the Harden offense, which is slow and stagnant, and he didn't make enough improvements to his game. It was sad to see him go, but, I think the Bogey trade was a good one. Got a couple second-rounders back. But Zubac became my favorite player, and I think, Clipper fans really got to see him grow this season, and it was amazing to see him become the All-NBA center that he probably should be, or at least, one of the best defenders in the league. And then Norman Powell, the way he started that season, he was playing so hard every night. He was scoring every night at a high level, and we were overachieving, and mixed with the first year at Intuit Dome, I think the vibes were pretty high. I can't say I was really looking forward to games or enjoying it because I just can't stand watching Harden hoop, but I was appreciative of the team, and I still enjoy my job. And, because Harden was good and I was a little nicer to him nicer to him, and, he earned it with the way he was playing on the lives and on Locked On, but I still heard it from the stands. I mean, those Harden stands are just the weirdest group of people ever. You're going to hate this video because I'm just getting started, but you guys are absolute cancer, and, you need to find lives. That goes for all stands too, but Hardens are just absolutely ridiculous the way that they shit on me and other people's comments and just like talk so much trash and are so weak in the sense that they just don't even tag when they talk trash. They're all talk, no action. Some will threaten me, and nobody pulls up to a game and says anything. So they're just bitch made. Sorry for the kids listening. But anyway, throughout the season, I would say, when people are asking me, do you like James Harden now? I said, not really, but he's been a good Clipper. And that's what I'll say. He's been good with the fans, and I really appreciate that. But I just don't like the way he plays basketball. But, he's fine. He's fine. I don't hate the guy. Now, Kawhi Leonard comes back, and, throughout the season, we're all saying, okay, if Kawhi can kind of get into his peak form going to the playoffs, because he'll be, midway through it, like right when he catches stride in the playoffs, the Clippers might make some noise. And you know what? That's exactly what happened. He started getting hot during the playoffs, but you know what didn't happen? The best version of Norman Powell and the best version of Kawhi Leonard meshing, because Norm got injured right around when Kawhi was starting to gain form, and then finally Norm had some games, but he never looked quite like the old Norm. And I kind of put that down a little bit to rhythm. The guarantee that he was getting a lot of shots in the offense before and not getting those as much, and having to really see that, look, when Norm is not getting to shoot as much, you see his deficiencies more. His lack of being a good off-ball defender shows off more. Lack of rebounding shows off more, because you don't need him to have the ball as much. He's just going to be a spot-up shooter, so he's got to make open shots. And overall, if you look at this series against the Denver Nuggets, he shot 35% from three compared to the regular season where he shot 42% from three, and that ended up being a difference for us, no doubt. But that was one of my fears going into the playoffs. That Chris Dunn, us being a little too married to him, in the game because of his lack of shooting. And, of course, my fear of James Harden choking in the playoffs. And the Kawhi Leonard discussion, which was, we've just all been saying if he's healthy in the playoffs, we're going to be good. We're going to be fine. He can be that guy. And he was looking like that guy going in the playoffs. But you know what I always say? You got to be a top 3 seed to win a ring. So I never for a second, first of all, since we got James Harden, I never for a second thought we could win a championship. But I definitely didn't think we could win a championship this season. But I thought maybe we can beat Denver. And I picked us to beat Denver, even though if I weren't a Clipper fan, I never would have done that because of Harden. But I was like, you know what? The matchup's good. They just fired Michael Malone. We're going to go in there. We're going to do it. We're playing great basketball. They're not a good defensive team. And through 3 games, and by the way, game 3 being one of the most surreal experiences of my life, and Kawhi Leonard actually playing in front of a sold-out Clipper playoff crowd, healthy. I mean, it felt like we were about to walk away with this series. Not walk away with this series, but, I thought Clippers in 6. I thought my predictions looking good. We're on cloud 9. We're probably going to lose to the Thunder, but it'll be a good season, and then we'll reevaluate after. Well, that is not how it went. In game 4, I think that's where we lost the series. In the first 3 quarters, we were absolutely bullshitting. you have to have more of a sense of urgency if you want to go up 3-1 against a team of this caliber. And I think that we lack that completely. Kawhi Leonard and James Harden did not start playing till the fourth quarter. And Ty Lue had too much of a reliance on Chris Dunn. And to be honest, our role players, they never sold me with their 3-ball. Even though we had a couple of weeks towards the end of the season where they were hitting the 3-ball, I was not fully sold. And you make a huge run at the end, place is absolutely booming, and then last second we have another buzzer beater along with DeAndre Ayton's, Joe Johnson's, and even though it wasn't a buzzer beater, that Raja Bell shot still stings to my core, a moment that will haunt us for many years most likely, although I still think we would have gotten waxed by OKC. But, to be there for that, I'm numb at this point. But here's the crazy part, ladies and gentlemen. I've almost lost and I hope it's temporary. I really do. I was a little nervous for game 1, but I don't get sad when we lose anymore like that. And I don't get that happy when we win, except for a couple of hours. Like the next day, it's just whatever. The next day is the next day. It's not like I would say I still. I don't know. I think that the feeling of the way I felt after game 3 was like the highest high I think I've been on as a Clipper fan probably in many years, just because that environment and going to the game and stuff like that. But if we're talking about TV, I would say game 2 of this year's series was special. But it's just, when you don't have, it's not the same as 2021, for example, because I had a legit expectation, and even 2020, I had an expectation that we should win the championship. So I feel like it kind of takes the nerves out of it. I felt like we were just prolonging the inevitable, but it was cool to, continue the ride. But my moral of the story is I don't get the same nerves anymore. And it started to feel more like a job than something I love to do. But I'll say this, I love the content side. I don't love watching the actual games. I love going to the games, but a lot of that's tied to myself. I still am not a huge fan of, what we're doing, and that is stalling until we have flexibility because Kawhi sunk our future. Now, I'll get into that in a sec. But before I get into that, we got to finish talking about this series. So the last possession of game 4, I don't even know what to say. That was a very questionable decision, even though those 5 guys got us back in the game. What were we thinking not putting defensive guys out there? That's a huge mistake, and Ty Lue needs to, and the whole coaching staff needs to take major accountability for that game. Because not just that possession, we persisted with Chris Dunn for too long, and it came back to bite us. You know what I mean? Chris Dunn was 1 for 9 in that game and 1 for 6 from 3, and it was tough. But Kawhi and James Harden didn't show up till the fourth quarter. So when you put yourself in that position, now you have to win a game on the road again. And in game 5, James Harden and the whole team just didn't seem like they had much effort. Our attention to detail defensively was really bad. But Kawhi Leonard, it was the classic. And we'd seen this a lot in this series outside of game 2, not being that aggressive. And, getting double teamed, but getting double teamed be the reason that you don't get 20 shots up. There are other ways. Kawhi seems to love Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant so much. Well, he has a lot more of Kevin Durant than he has of those guys, which is efficiency, but not emptying the clip when his team needs it. And it's what he did in Toronto in Game 7 when he won his one championship as the main guy. He emptied that clip in Game 7, as I said earlier in this video. 39 shots. He was seeing multiple defenders. He was seeing load-ups. The difference is he does not work as quickly off the catch. He does not move as much without the ball. He does not want to fight for post position as much. But I also think because the whole season was ran with James Harden and Ivica Zubac's pick and roll being our best source of offense, we didn't have a clear what was our number one source of offense. Is it go through Kawhi every possession, or is it James Harden, Zubac's pick and roll? Because that blend, it didn't end up working. We didn't end up getting enough shots out of Kawhi. He's not vocal enough to demand the ball, and that's been a consistent theme since he's been here. And he's not a galvanizer that's going to get the most out of anyone else, it seems. I think he'll add to your defense. He's still, in Game 5, he made some great passes. He almost got a triple-double, but it wasn't enough. We need you to shoot a lot. We need to be aggressive. 15 shots. James Harden, 9 shots. That was in Game 5. Not the right effort. And the whole team defensively was not great. And then you win Game 6, but you put yourself in a must-win situation in Game 7, and there's absolutely no excuse for that
freaking quit job in the second half. You had an identity this season that we are a hard-nosed defensive team. We come out there and we compete every single night. A couple games we didn't compete this season, only a couple. 2 of them were in Denver. And guess what? I'm not even talking about games 5 and 7. But our star players were not good enough in games 5, 7, and 4. And yes, our role players weren't good enough in game 7. Yes, James Harden was getting blitzed on pick and rolls, and we got wide open threes for Bogey and Chris Dunn and Derek and whoever and Nico and Norm. And Kawhi got doubled all the time, and they made the right play. But this goes back to the whole like LeBron fan versus Kobe fan argument. Sometimes, fuck giving the ball to these role players who are bricking over and over again. You got to shoot. That means even with a guy loaded up, that means maybe a double team coming. And in game 6, if you really pay close attention, Kawhi Leonard was turning away from the double team. He was working quicker before the defense could load up, and he was being far more assertive. As far as James Harden in game 6, he started realizing, oh, they're going to blitz me on pick and rolls to try to make me a passer and force these other guys to beat me or beat us. So I'm going to not call for Jokic to be put in the pick and roll. I'm just going to take Murray and Christian Brown and get downhill. And it ended up working. Kawhi Leonard shot 22 shots and Harden had 20 shots. But then in game 7, we looked defeated after the second quarter. The lack of defensive communication between Ivica Zubac and Kawhi Leonard in the first couple possessions of the fourth quarter were appalling. James Harden's transition defense on several occasions, like almost every year he folds in the playoffs, was ridiculous. Norman Powell, on the play that Aaron Gordon had that dunk, who was it that wasn't boxing out? It was Norman Powell. James Harden was rotating over to Christian Brown. Norman Powell did not put a body on Aaron Gordon. And speaking of not putting a body on Aaron Gordon, Kawhi Leonard. And speaking of playing like an absolute bot, was Ivica Zubac in game 7. Love the guy. Amazing season, amazing series. Throwing the ball away in the backcourt, missing shots around the rim, getting cooked, not talking on defense so it's too late. The team... And shout out to Steve Ballmer. He sent all those fans from the Swell over to Ball Arena or Pepsi Center, whatever you want to call it. And for, all these guys that have been in my vlogs all season long to be flown out there, and Steve Ballmer does that to get the team some support, for you guys to come out there and essentially quit in the second half of game 7, it be over by the end of the third quarter, is an absolute disgrace. You should be ashamed of yourselves. It's been a great season, but that was pathetic. Are you tired? Are you old? I know the people are saying James Harden played 47 minutes in game 6. You put yourselves in this position when you didn't close the series. You didn't go up 3-1 in game 4. So you have no one to blame but yourselves. And the Nuggets have championship pedigree. They're a much better fit for one another, even though Mike Malone, I almost said Rick Adelman, Michael Malone left or got fired. Adelman's been there. They still run the same shit, which is a lot of Murray Jokic pick and pop, a lot of Jokic in the high post, and a team with movement will almost always beat a stagnant offense when the talent is even. And we honestly had a little more depth, but their offense was harder for us to guard. And I kept saying, and I was wrong about this, that before the series, we had the better personnel to slow them down than they had us. But that's not what ended up happening. We could not still figure out the Murray Jokic pick and pop, and it should tell you something that before the series even started, I was like, I still don't know if I have an answer for that. We tried the peel switch / late switch, but then it ends up being Jokic with a smaller guy. So then they double, and then you got to give the rest of their guys credit. Aaron Gordon was phenomenal all series long. Clearly, Kawhi Leonard cannot handle him in terms of that low block help, the boxing out on a consistent basis, and shout out to Aaron Gordon for the job he did on Kawhi Leonard after game 2. We need to upgrade at the 4 position if we want to run this team back, but I'll talk about that in a sec. And then MPJ, he had some big games. He was inconsistent, but he had some big games, and his spacing is always an issue. And Christian Brown, the improvement that he's made this season was insane. And then, of course, Russell Westbrook. The revenge that he got. I said it earlier in the season, this is the best situation he's been in since the Washington Wizards. And, of course, I thought that, when he was starting point guard for us in the second half of the 2023 season, that was ideal for him. But the way a movement offense works with Russ, it doesn't allow the defense to load up as much and to double off as much. But you know what? He had confidence, and we did leave him open, and he did let it fly. And for him to shoot 42% from 3 and make the big impact in game 1 that won him the game, I'm a Russ guy. I'm obviously going to be Clippers all the way, and it disappoints me. But I'm happy for the guy. He kind of proved that, there was something that we lacked a little bit in this series, and that's that raw energy. And Chris Dunn has a little bit of that, but he couldn't stay on the floor. Russell Westbrook had that, and he made sure to rub it in our face in game 7. And you know what? Serves him right. We got him only to replace him, and that was fucked up by Lawrence Frank. So
salute to Westbrook. I still don't think he can win a championship. And I still want to make it very clear that James Harden, I'm admitting that I was wrong about the trade because of this reason. Even though I wish I could have those picks back, and honestly, I wish I could never have gone through this whole Harden on my team experience because it's been really painful, and it's legitimately like, I don't know if I'll ever regain feeling the way I once did as a fan. Maybe I've just gotten older, and maybe I've gotten to a point, and I'll explain later what I mean, that I can't lose anymore. But I'm happy we got Harden in the sense that it allowed Kawhi to get a full playoff run healthy, so we can have some closure on that. Because without Harden this year, we would have never made the playoffs. His floor-raising ability is all-time. He's a one-man offense. He is the system in the regular season. But in the playoffs, that shit has limitations. So the role players miss shots. I mean, I'm disappointed in – let's look at their stats for the series. You know, I'm disappointed in our role players. I don't think they were good enough. Ben Simmons, I will take my L on this one. We definitely – would have rather had KPJ, I think, because Ben Simmons got DNP the last couple games. Dude cannot. He just has no confidence anymore. He's not going to be in the league much longer, I don't think. Nico Batum, I think he was solid in this series. He was fantastic in Game 6. He shot 39% from 3 in the series. So, honestly, I mean, I love Nico. I don't think you can really get mad at him. He should have played better in Game 7, but you know what they say, role players play better at home, and that was proven correct by the Nuggets. Bogey, I don't think he had a very good postseason. 6 points is not enough. He got 17 minutes. He should have had more than 6 points, and he shot 36-29 splits. Just not good enough at all. Chris Dunn, love the guy, but clearly I don't know if he belongs in it. I mean, maybe, I think he could belong in a championship rotation, but just needs to get a lesser role than what he got. He ended up shooting 36% from 3 in the playoffs, which is not too bad, but 39% overall. I mean, the lack of offense really hurt him. And then Derek Jones, he had a great season, but he shot 30% from 3 in the playoffs, and that really hurt us. And then Norman Powell, I already mentioned, 35% from 3 in the playoffs, 16 points. He just never really, I just felt like the shot distribution was never quite figured out with him and Kawhi, and it really hurt us, I thought, in the playoffs. As far as Norman Powell, he's got a decent contract we could look to trade. I love the guy. I think he should be a 6-man next year, though, if we keep this team together. Or we should look to trade him. Love him, though. Absolutely love him. Class act. And then if it's Zubac, I mean, what a season it was for him. I am mad at him I'm a little disappointed with him for Game 7, but he averaged 17 and 10 in the playoffs. Did a great job on Jokic for what it's worth. And, I mean, I love the guy. I'm really happy to have him on our team. The future's bright for him. I would still, if I'm the Clippers front office, just see what's on the table for him around the league. Because if you can get some picks back and try to kickstart a new era, listen, man, I love Zoo, but that's the honest truth. I said that in the middle of the season. This guy's amazing. A lot of teams could use him. We just got to keep our options open, in my opinion. And then let's talk about James Harden. As far as how I feel about Harden, he's a great Clipper. Let me just be very clear about that. He's been a great Clipper. But I'm not changing anything I felt about Harden. To me, he's still one of the most fake, unselfish guys I've ever seen. I think he does a good job of making dudes better that directly can benefit off of him, which is spot-up shooters and pick-and-roll bigs. But notice how many times when they tried to ask him about Ivica Zubac's development, he constantly tooted his own horn. It's so funny how insecure this guy is, it seems, about the way he's talked about. And, I think he's been fairly professional until the playoffs, where when the going got tough and he did not play well in those last couple of games, he scurried off and didn't talk to the media, which is a very cowardly move. And it's nothing new for James. I've talked about this since before we got him. And again, what people need to understand is I am not just a Clipper fan. I love this game of basketball. I've never missed a playoff game of Harden's career. I think he's a lot of what's wrong with the game today, though. And I say that with me saying that he should be All-NBA. He's been a great Clipper. I appreciate what he's done for fans and how he's been with fans and how great he is, but he's never going to win a ring, and it's no one else's fault but his, and I'm going to tell you why. Now, there is luck that goes into not winning championships. There is, and he's had some bad luck, but the way he plays basketball makes it very hard to win because he's unwilling to play off the ball, and he's not great at it. The only thing he can do off ball is catch and shoot from 3, which he's not bad at, but he doesn't always release it without hesitation. And whenever he does and has a game where he'll take 2 to 3 catch and shoot threes or more, every Harden stan will make it clear that he's taking it and they like him to see him do it because he doesn't enough. It's the same thing with Luka. They like pump fake unnecessarily. They're so used to that step back and they pass up open threes, which makes them hard. And they don't move without the ball at all. So it makes them hard to play with. So you almost have to put the ball in their hands, in which you then reap all the benefits of them, which is that they're a one-man offense. They can create a good shot for you in the pick and roll. As long as you have 4 out, 1 in spacing, they can create a good shot for you in pick and roll. And he does that. He's one of the best shot creators to ever play basketball. The problem is there are ways to get under his skin in the pick and roll a bit. If you have right now at least, if you have a good point of attack defender, they can get physical with him. He does not get the same advantages that he used to, just given his age, right? But for that matter, he was still great this season. Now, what Denver did was they blitzed him and took the ball out of his hands, right? And then when he was in isolation, they ran him off the three-point line. They wanted to sit on his step back. And then when he drives, collapse, make him pass. And you might be thinking, the Harden stands defense is, he's getting guys wide open shots. They got to make him. Sure. But if you want to do that, we can do the same thing for every player. I mean, same thing with Kawhi, same thing with so many different guys throughout NBA history. And the fact of the matter is, there are some times when these other role players are not going to make shots. And it's not that you don't need them to win, because you do. But the issue with Harden is, not only does he need shooters on his team, he needs good defenders on his team because he doesn't defend consistently. And we had Norman Powell in him, and they got exposed off the ball defensively. Against stagnant offenses, yeah, they're fine defensively. But when you put them against a team that's constantly moving, constantly screening, you're forced to communicate more, you're forced to see man and ball more. That not bending your knees on defense that James Harden has gotten away with for his whole second half of his career does not get work in the playoffs. And for me, it's his lack of spirit when his offense is, when he knows that he can't get clean looks off, which has only been a thing, let me clarify, post-Houston, post-hamstring, because I never said he didn't shoot enough or empty the clip when he was in Houston, except for Game 7 against the Spurs. It's these post-hamstring where he can be a good scorer. He'll have those games where he scores 40. But the second a team is taken away, the only 2 shots he has, which is floater/layup and step back 3, what else does he have? You run him off the line. He just tries to foul bait, throw his body into you, and throw up a foul. He tries to take the step back and fall throw his legs forward and fall down to get a foul. He's got no mid-range, which actually, no, he does have a mid-range, but he never goes to it. He went to it once in Game 7, and I liked it, but he never goes to it again. And he doesn't catch the ball inside the arc. So all he does is he does all his work behind the three-point line with 10 eyes staring at him at all times, which causes stagnant offense wherever he goes, and you put all your stock into him creating for you. And on top of that, you have to put a roster around him that is surrounded by shooters and defenders, and they have to be clutch. Fact of the matter is, he is not going to win a championship being the lead ball handler. I am sorry. That is an uncomfortable truth that his stands cannot accept. So I am not going to totally slander him because I thought he did his job enough in this series. He played well in 4 games and he didn't play well in 3. But his performance in Game 7 to go 2 for 8, and I don't even think it's that like he didn't choose to shoot. He can't get clean looks off. His shot profile has always been like that post getting D'Antoni as his coach, and it's part of why I can't stand watching him. He neglects an area of the floor, and then all his fans want to say, well, he's still getting guys good shots. Keep losing then. There's no secret why that Houston team missed 27 threes in a row, because everyone's standing around watching him dribble. You saw how stagnant our offense got in the second half, how stagnant our offense is, period. Movement will always win when the talent's equivalent, and the Golden State talent was not equivalent. It was greater than Houston, but Houston was winning by 15 points, and I could tell their shots were going to miss in that second half when I was watching in live time in 2018, and I could tell Golden States were going to go in because the ball is zipping, and the ball has energy, and James Harden is just a one-man show, but his teams never are that high in assist numbers as a team for a reason. You're never going to win with him being the lead ball handler. He's inherently selfish, and he can say any quote he wants. We see what happens. He makes you play his ball, and that ball will not win at the high levels. He can make it to the next round. He can do this and that. He's never going to win a championship. I'm going to double down on it. So I want him off the team badly because I want to enjoy basketball again on both ends of the floor. But at the same time, he's been a great Clipper. He's a great floor raiser, and he's done a great job with the community stuff. And at this point, I just don't care because my life is good enough outside of the Clippers, so it doesn't matter. As far as Kawhi Leonard, it was great to see him in the playoffs healthy. I think he has James Harden to thank for that largely, and if it's a Zubats. But, and by the way, I just want to clarify that I'm appreciative of James Harden's production this season. But Kawhi Leonard, I mean, it was nice that the New Balance team sent me his shoes to promote. shout out to his trainer, Clint Parks. Good dude. Kawhi seems like a good dude, but, you know, I think we have to realize the uncomfortable truth that Kawhi Leonard can't be your number one option anymore. There's no excuse. We waited for him to be healthy. He was healthy. He didn't play well enough. In game one, he turned the ball over 7 times. Not to mention, he's not guarding anybody that's that good. And he's not technically doing a great job on Aaron Gordon. He did a good job in help this series. He didn't do a great job on the ball. He's not guarding anyone of significance frequently. So, like, his two-way impact was not that great. He's not a great passer. We know this. He made some good passes, though. Like, he had that 11-assist game, and he averaged 5 assists in this series. But, 5 to 2 assist to turnover ratio. He doesn't process double teams and see the floor quickly like a lot of the all-time great small forwards did. And, of course, especially compared to even James Harden and Nikola Jokic. So as a primary offensive creator, that mixed with the fact that he does not get easy looks and hasn't for a couple of years now. Like, he does not get easy looks. Some shots are easy for him, but they're not easy looks. He's not getting 2 feet in the paint frequently. It's, and the offense is stagnant. And plus, it just didn't feel like we really made it his team throughout the season. It was kind of like, whose team is this? Harden's. And before the series, I said Harden, Zubac's pick and rolls are our biggest advantage, not Kawhi ISO. And that's kind of an issue in itself that I'm saying that. So for me, I've had the suspicion for a couple of years now. I just wanted to see it. Is Kawhi able to still lead you to a championship? I mean, he's done it one time, and Golden State got hurt. Now, I'm not saying that to take away from him. I'm just saying that maybe he's not one of those guys that's destined to win multiple chips as the best player. That's a very exclusive class. Do I think we can upgrade this roster next year? Yes, but like, the league's only getting younger. Even if we had beaten Denver, like, Kawhi is not leading you to a championship, especially with all the hoops you have to go through to get him healthy during the regular season. You can't be a top 3 seed with him on your roster taking up $50 million of the cap. And the thing is, so game 2, he was amazing. Game 3, he was good. Game 4, he wasn't good enough till the 4th. Game 5, he was decent, but decent's not good enough. Game 6, he was great. And then game 7, he was decent again. Decent's not going to cut it. And the stats are going to look great. I mean, he averaged 25, 8, and 5 on 54, 40 and a half, 78 splits. But that free throw shooting, that was a real problem during the series. That was a real problem. So you can throw any stat you want at me. That's not good enough. It's all that matters is winning the game. I'm not saying it's all Kawhi's fault, but if you want to single out a single player, it has to be Kawhi, because we said he was going to be a top 5 player. And granted, we did a pretty damn good job on Jokic in the series. He should have capitalized more. And I don't feel comfortable at the end of games at all with Kawhi Leonard and the shots that he's going to get, and the looks that he can create late. So as far as how I feel about him, of course, I've wanted him off the team, and I'm hoping that a team could take a flyer on him now that he ended the series healthy. But I will say this. It was great to see him in the playoffs healthy. It was great to be at home games and have those memories of finally seeing him fully healthy in front of a Clipper playoff crowd. Unfortunately, it wasn't what we waited all these years for. Do I think that this means that he never would have taken us to a championship healthy? No. I think in 2021, he was en route to take us to the finals. And he was better than this, and he's been through a lot of injuries. And the fact that he can still play at such a high level, given all the injuries, is something. But again, and I say this after, he went to the Olympics, even though he hasn't finished the postseason for us healthy till this year. He's just not starving for another ring to me. It just feels like he tries hard, but when shit was hitting the fan, looks desperate? Harden doesn't care. He's like, whatever. He's so easy to just throw in the towel. And then Kawhi Leonard, he's just not a galvanizer. I think he's upset, but that's it. When he moves on, he still collects his check. He's got 2 rings, and he's just happy that he can be healthy. So, we don't have guys that are starving for a ring like that, in my opinion, that are at the top. And yeah, if you're wondering, are you really questioning their commitment to winning a ring? Kind of, a little bit, because you don't just get bitched like that in Game 7 and Game 5. And by the way, it's happened to Kawhi Leonard twice against the Nuggets in his time with the Clippers. So 2 times he's finished the postseason healthy with the Clippers, and it's been against the Nuggets, and we've lost both. So here's the thing, though. I mean, what do we do, though, Dime? How can we do it? I don't know. That's the thing. Would any team take Kawhi Leonard? Because, I was emotional last year, and I was just like, I'll trade him for anything. But who would trade the guy? We should have traded him in 2023. But the fact that he ended the postseason healthy makes me curious. Would any team trade for him? Team like, maybe Houston. Maybe Phoenix. Maybe the Bucks if they trade Giannis. I'm just joking. But, I don't know. I was totally joking about that Giannis part. Some Clipper fans are already starting to talk, though. But I don't see it, guys, unfortunately. And I'm going to be real. Like, it's very hard for me to like Kawhi that much. He's okay. He's whatever to me, you know? I still don't feel like he represents the franchise that proudly. Um, he's just part of it's just because he's a quiet guy. I still have not heard a good explanation for the fact that he literally left the game in the middle of the Memphis game in 2023. And a person that's on our beat told me that, in addition to a team staffer. And we've heard no explanation. And there's no, for that 2023 game against Memphis where he exited at halftime. And then they said, well, he's going to play tomorrow against New Orleans. But the coaching staff had no idea about it. That's so weird. And then the game against New Orleans that I was at where he got a facial contusion and then he came back the next game with no mask, no nothing. And again, another one of our members of staff, a beat, told me that he just randomly left the game. So I'm telling everybody this because when people wonder, why don't you love Kawhi so much? Or why don't you like him like every other Clipper fan? First of all, I'm so sick of how Teflon he is with Clipper fans. Like, he's done some shit for us. He ain't done not much except for choose to come here. And if we're being honest, again, I'm going to repeat, he has sunk this franchise. We have nowhere to go because of him, because he didn't want to let SGA develop. He didn't want to let things percolate, even though he was going to be here for years. He's like, I need a second star. I'm going to go to the Lakers. Like, dude, you have hurt everyone with that. He got too greedy. So how am I supposed to just get over it with this dude? And now we got to watch SGA play this team and win? Thanks, bro. Like, I'm sorry you didn't watch ball like that. And, Paul George, dude, he was coming off 2 playoff exits where he was fucking disappointing. And I said that even then. So I'm sorry. I'm like, what sympathy am I supposed to have for? I mean, I'm happy Kawhi ended the playoffs healthy, but, dude, he has sunk us. We can't do anything. And I'm not going to say what we can do. I think the best thing they're going to do is going to try one more year. They try to get a power forward, a backup center, because we really needed a backup center. And then I don't know about Ty Lue, man. I love the guy, but he made some mistakes this series. We lost to a team that had, an interim coach essentially. And I think that Ty did a great job this year, but he's solid. He's good. He's nothing special. He's good. By the way, Ty Lue did not continuously not giving the ball to Zubac in the post over the course of the season. It took him so long to get to that in the season, and then in the playoffs not doing it. He needs to be questioned massively for that. You know what I mean? He's a good coach, but he has to take some accountability too for this series. Simple as that. But yeah, in terms of what we can go, I don't know if we can do anything, guys. I'm gonna be honest, and here's where I'm just gonna end it. I don't care anymore. With the Clippers, when we got Harden and the way 2023-24 season went, I reached a rock bottom when it came to the fandom. I was like, it doesn't really matter anymore what I say, what I do, what I want. Of course, I can't wait for the new era of Clipper basketball and for Kawhi to be gone and for Harden to be gone. That's just me. By the way, I don't think any Clipper fans should feel the way I do about Harden in terms of anything outside of the basketball stuff I said. Harden's been a great Clipper, and he deserves love from the Clipper fans. I do believe that. And again, nothing I've tried to say is malicious. I just don't think he's going to win a ring. It's just basketball. And his not going to the media is ridiculous, but whatever. I used to want to be someone that talked about sports when I was a kid. When I was in high school, that's kind of when I was like, I want to be someone that talks about sports. Inside the NBA guys really inspired me. I was like, man, because I was doing my homework one night, and I was like, if only I could get paid to do what these guys are doing as work, that would be special. But here's the thing. Whether it's Kawhi Leonard's lack of leadership, the lack of faith I have in Harden in the playoffs, and that's another thing. We don't really have a leader. Kawhi Leonard is just a guy that, leads by the example, the way he plays. But when shit hits the fan, he doesn't really seem to say much. And then James Harden, he is a leader until he's playing like ass, and then he just cowers away. So we don't really have that guy, and it's going to be hard to win like that. Jokic, on the other hand, you see him yelling at his teammates. I can see how animated he is, constantly motioning over to his guys. It's just different. But going into this season, I just wanted to have a good time, and I wanted to bring the community together. And the way this year went, I mean, you never think that things like natural disasters like the fires can happen to you until they do. But it's wild, like how much my life has changed this season. In the beginning of the season, I had all my Clipper gear. I had all the memorabilia I'd ever collected, all my rally towels, my posters, my jerseys. And then with the snap of a finger, every comfort item that I'd ever had was gone. And I didn't go to games for a while. And I was like, didn't even know how to rebound. And I am a long form content creator. And I know that the journey to a lot of subscribers is longer when you do it this way. I know I could have more subscribers if I did it was just more short form. But I wanted to build a community from the moment I started this. And I like the online stuff. Not really, though. I'm more about in person. And the amount of fans that I met this season and that came through for me when I needed it most, 25 racks in the GoFundMe, when I didn't even have to post the link. I didn't even create my own GoFundMe. I didn't even post the link, is beyond what words could say to appreciate what you guys have done. I mean, there's no words that can describe what you guys have done. I can't lose anymore. I come home from a game and people are awaiting my analysis. I exit a game, win or lose, and I have kids to grown men older than me that have been watching since the sports arena asking me for pictures like I'm somebody. And to me, I'm no one. I'm just a fan. But I never thought that, we could get past the, oh, Dime doesn't like Harden and Kawhi and this and that, or, what everybody thinks about players, and just focus on the fans and the camaraderie and support one another, because we're all in the same family and we're going to be forever. These guys are not going to be like, no one's going to care what I said about Kawhi Leonard in 20 years. You'll remember it, but you won't care if you're a Clipper fan. And I just, to see the way this season progressed and to see the way the community came through for me, chanting my name in the swell when I returned against the Lakers that night, Brian Seaman coming over and, wishing me well. I used to listen to that guy on the radio, 980 AM radio. And now he's coming over wishing me well. I met Christina Pink this season. I, had a different bond with the fans this season that was kind of unexplainable. And, the way that the videos came together and every vlog getting over 1,000 views, whether it be watch parties and the vlogs themselves, it was such a team effort, man. I want to thank everybody, Mason for filming all the vlogs, behind the scenes, my amazing team, Lucas, Fabian for the thumbnails, TC, of course, my family, and all my support system for another year. And it's never easy. You do have to deal with the stands. You do have to deal with that. But I feel like I dealt with them less and was better about it. And I'm still improving. My players, all the ones that I coach, for making it so that I don't care about the wins or losses of this team anymore like I once did, because I'm building something with you. And I can build my own culture. And that's changed my life forever, because now I know what I really want to do. And that's because I want to compete, man. I can't just be talking around in this microphone. I need to make a difference. And as much as it's amazing to give you guys any sort of comfort with Clippers analysis and whatnot, being able to see and build my team's habits and put a smile on a kid's face is 10 times greater of a feeling. And, to be in the championship this year with my sixth graders, special experience through everything I'd been through. So just an amazing support system. And, to our amazing broadcast team, Lauren Rosen, Christina Pink, Mike Fratello, Jim Jackson, Brian Seaman, and of course the radio guys, Carlo Jimenez, Adam Osland. Thank you so much for everything that you guys do for the team, for the fans. And I mean, all the other fans that I didn't mention, Casey in the swell, all he did for me. The section leaders, Nikki, Joanne, Miss Shakes, Anthony, Ernie. I mean, I would not be wearing the clothes I have without Ernie. I mean, there's no one, few greater people than Ernie. Jason. I mean, you can't forget about Jason Lee, all he does for the fans. Everyone, that contributed in the vlogs frequently. Eli, Jack from Lades. I mean, the list goes on and on. Drift, Rob, Kanal. If I'm forgetting you, I'm so sorry. Arav. They're all just coming to me now. You guys are the best, man. Derek. I mean, all the people that donated playoff shirts. Jorge. Everyone. It's just a dream come true. Mint. Christina. It is truly a Chad. It's a dream come true to do what I do. And I can't lose anymore. And I hope one day I can return to feeling the way that I did about this team, which is that I'm, kind of getting nervous for games and having this amazing feeling enjoying the team. But I don't know. Until Kawhi and James Harden are gone, I don't know if I'll feel that way. It was awesome seeing Kawhi in the playoffs. But we have the rest of the summer on lockdown to talk about what we could do. I wouldn't get my hopes up about a full teardown. It just depends on what people want, ladies and gentlemen. And we don't have draft picks. We're going to have the 30th pick in the draft this year. Are we going to strike gold on that with our history of drafting? I don't know. It sounds like we're stuck in mediocrity till 2026, unfortunately. And I can scream and yell about it, and I fucking hate it. I want to move off this team. And I would, honestly, if teams are willing to trade first-round picks for Kawhi, I'm down to listen. But it really all depends on how much we can get for everyone else. Norm, Harden, even Zoo. It shouldn't just be one of them on the table. But to all of you, I want to say thank you for the most incredible year yet. I love Intuit Dome. Steve Ballmer, you have made a difference in my life and so many Clipper fans' lives. And I'm so appreciative of everything that you've done. And I just, I'll end it with this. I used to say that if I die and the Clippers never win a ring, I will have made a mistake and I should have been a Laker fan. But now here I am at 26. I could die tomorrow. No, not even being dramatic. I could die tomorrow. And I don't regret this decision at all. Because I don't know if I could have been doing this for the Lakers. And I feel like we're really building something. And like those post-game interviews at the end of the season, as flooded as they were, I don't think anyone's doing this in the NBA world. And I want everyone to see that we have a fan base. We are loud. And the biggest win for me, we went back to being the crowd that people were like, oh man, that's better than the Lakers. It sounds better. It's loud. It's live. And when that happens, I've won. I've won. Control what you can control, they said. I'm damn sure doing that. Thank you to all the Clippers for a great season. Thank you, Steve Ballmer. And thank you, Clipper Nation, for being the most loyal fans in the world. Until next season.